Hello and welcome. I'm Erica Riggs, attorney and partner at Disability Law Group, and this is our podcast, Disability Lawyers for the Community. Today, for our fifth episode, we have Ida Benson here to talk with us about her organization. Ida joined Covenant House as the Director of Development and Communications in 2017. And it was right around that time that I first toured Covenant House, their Detroit campus. And first of all, let me begin by saying what an experience that was. If you have not been, even if you are familiar with the organization, you have to check it out firsthand and meet the people who work there, the people they serve. It's truly a one of a kind operation and experience there. So I'm really excited to welcome Ida today and spotlight her organization and the wonderful work they do for our youth, our future generation. So with that, welcome Ida, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Erica.
I am so excited to have you here to talk more about Covenant House, let the people know the mission, the other people you work with, and how we can maybe help and get more involved. So why don't we start with you telling us a bit more about yourself and what led you to Covenant House?
So I've been in the fundraising field for close to 30 years and came to Covenant House, Michigan, because the mission really spoke to me. I've spent most of my career in healthcare philanthropy and realized that this organization, housing is healthcare, especially what's going on with COVID and everything that's happened in the last almost now 2 years, realizing that if you are unhoused and you have no place to live, how can you manage through a pandemic? So housing has really become a forefront of what Covenant House does here in Michigan and across the country and in North America.
Thank you for that. It's a great overview. And let's get down to the mission and talk to us about, more of the day-to-day work that Covenant does and just the overall mission of the organization in general.
Sure. So Covenant House, Michigan provides youth facing homelessness with shelter, educational, and vocational programs. We are both in Detroit and Grand Rapids, and we build a bridge to hope for young people facing homelessness and survivors of trafficking through unconditional love, absolute respect, and relentless support. Our doors are open 24/7, 365 days a year, and our programs are designed to empower young people to rise and overcome adversity today and in the future. Our doors are always open to young people who need housing and help regardless of their race, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression. Our trauma-informed services help bridge the gap between potential and progress, and we also advocate for systemic change through public policy while promoting awareness of critical issues related to youth homelessness.
I read that on the website too, and I didn't even know that the Covenant House's doors are truly open 24/7. Yep. Is that right? Has that been the case through the pandemic? Yes, even?
Always 24/7. We had to actually close to new intake because all of the homeless shelters across the state were kind of put on hold. We had to have our young people shelter in place during lockdown, which was a little difficult. We gave them the choice. Either you stay here and we shelter in place, or we would, be sad to see you go. And we had a number of young people who decided they didn't want to stay here. They felt that they could do it on their own. And the ones that did stick around, they had a great, I don't say it's a great experience, but they learned resilience and how to manage through something like this. And I think it really has helped them moving forward when they leave Covenant House to be able to be a little bit more independent, because a lot of our young people come to us having no skills of living on their own. They don't choose to be homeless. They are kicked out because of sexual identity, gender identification. They get in a fight with their mother's boyfriend. They get in a fight with their sibling, and they are put out. And where are they going to go? 18 to 24 years old, and they are at prime age to be picked up by traffickers. We do have, unfortunately, trafficking across this country, and they are in that same age group. So to come here is this sense of relief and a sense of trying to really get their lives back together. A lot of them have been raised or not raised with any sorts of independence. How do you do this? How do you drive a car? How do you get your driver's license? How do you apply for a job? How do you finish high school when you got kicked out because you didn't feel like going? What are these things to teach them the sense of, independence so they can be an adult and they can go out and live, productive lives?
Yes, I love that Covenant House is, really genuinely all about empowerment and inclusion. And the programs you mentioned from not just shelter, which that alone is truly phenomenal, especially in these areas, and the vocational programming, the resources in place to end trafficking, and just really designed to inspire our youth to rise above and overcoming these trials and tribulations they might face in their younger days and in their youthhood. Talk to us a little bit more about what someone can expect when they come to the door. They need help, maybe the intake process, and what kind of programs might be available for them specifically.
Sure. So we get our young people from a number of ways. The most efficient way is through the coordinated access model in Detroit, which is a system of homeless shelters. You can go to a point in time in Detroit, and if you meet the criteria being 18 to 24, they're referred to us, or they come through our street outreach program, or they come through referrals from other organizations. So when they come through the door, the first thing they're told is there are rules here and you must follow them. We do have a lot of people who say, nope, that's not for me. And they walk out, and then they come back in a couple of weeks because they realize that they need the structure. And this is something that they have to determine on their own. So the intake process is quite intense. It goes through everything from, do you have a social security? Do you have a high school diploma? Do you have an outstanding warrant? Where did you sleep last night? Where did you sleep last week? To determine where they are in their own lives and to make sure that we are going to be helping them giving them what they need. So they do an assessment, they figure out what's going to happen with them next, and they're given a room. They're given clothes, they're given 3 meals a day, they're giving a sense of community. And so they we empower them to make their own plan. What are your goals? What are your 90-day goals? What are your 2-year goals? Our emergency shelter here in Detroit is 45 beds, and young people can stay up to 90 days. A lot of them come in and out, and by 90 days, they feel that they can go out and, get themselves together all by themselves. We also have a transitional housing program called Rites of Passage, and that's a 2-year stay. You come in, this is something that you're working on. You're going to college, you have a job, you're doing something. Most of our young people are required to have a job or be in school during the day. If they don't have that option, if there's something that's holding them back, we have day programs called the Total Me Zone, which is run by area interns, social work interns from area colleges. And they run these day programs, things like yoga and anger management and how to balance a checkbook and how to make sure that the money that you earn at a job goes to your rent and your cell phone and your insurance if you have a car and your car note and saving the money, really teaching them these adult skills that we all learn growing up that some of our young people just never had the opportunity to learn. Most of our young people come in with mental health issues. We have a day program called House of Hope that deals with young people who have co-occurring disorders, which is mental health issues and substance abuse. If you have a mental health issue, a lot of times mental health comes through at 18 to 24. That's the perfect time. So if you're bipolar or you're schizophrenic and you don't know how to handle that, that's a lot of times for cause for being kicked out and say, go find it on your own. So how do you self-medicate? If you don't have medications, you self-medicate with alcohol or drugs. So we do have a lot of young people who come in with those co-occurring disorders, and we treat both of them. We make sure that they are on a path to sobriety and also on a path to help their own mental health. And once that's stable, then we can get them into a program of, all right, do you need to finish a high school diploma? Do you want to go to college? What do you want to do for working? We have an employment center and a career readiness program that's funded through Delta Airlines. And our employment center coordinator helps find jobs, and not just find jobs for our young people, but helps to coach them. Like, it's easy to get a job. It's harder to go to that job every day. And what if someone makes you angry? You just don't walk away. Teach them those skills to handle conflict and, success and failure at a job. So it's really this comprehensive program where our young people can come in and really put themselves back on that path.
That is so wonderful. I know a lot of adults, even if you don't, even perhaps if you've never had mental health symptoms, that could benefit from those services. It's so wonderful to hear and just refreshing that you're meeting these youth who are in such a vulnerable place in their lives and figuring out, what is the need, meet them where they are, and just hit the ground running with the resources and the support to help better their lives. And I just love hearing that. So in your role at Covenant House, what do you find most rewarding?
So I'm the director of development and communication. So really, I raise the funds that help keep the organization going. So it's making sure that we have the grants coming in to fund the specific programs. It's having our special events that are funding our operating dollars. It's really making sure that the money that we have from our donors are stewarded, because we are almost 90% privately funded. The rest are government grants. And so every dollar that is raised goes directly into the programs. We have very small operating expenses, and all of our donations are really going to help our young people. We opened a shelter in Grand Rapids in 2018 and only had enough funding right now or then to open up the men's floor. We ended up fundraising more and ended up opening the women's floor. So in Grand Rapids, we have space for 28 young people, 14 men, 14 women, and it's a brand new building and it's wonderful. So we can only serve as many youth as we have funding for. So my role is super important to make sure that we are able to serve a maximum amount of young people.
Okay, and I want to ask you about a story perhaps you might be able to share with us in just a moment. But before I do, and when hearing you speak, I'm wondering what are maybe some of the biggest challenges that you find that people, facing or battling homelessness or barriers to independence that you see or learn about in your role at that organization?
So the biggest barrier is self-doubt from our young people. They feel that they are not worth it. Why would you want to help me? I'm nothing. I have a mental health issue. My mom told me this. My father told me this. I dropped out of high school. I'm nothing. All I can do is walk the streets. So it's really reframing it with our young people. It's making sure that they have, like we said in our mission, absolute respect and unconditional love and relentless support. Because if nobody's being their champion, how can they be their own champion? So our staff is unbelievable. And during the pandemic, they showed up. They showed up and did double shifts because we did have a lot of staff come, fall ill. And they're there for our young people. We had, unfortunately, over the summer, one of our most dedicated residential advisors passed away unexpectedly. And it was devastating. It was devastating for our youth, but it was also a learning experience to show them that they can get through this grief. So they coordinated a balloon release for him. And it was amazing. They spoke that it was just this just outpouring of love. So it's really trying to make them understand that they are worth it. They are worth everything that we give to them. And our staff, like I said, does a wonderful job putting that together and making sure that our young people feel loved.
I love hearing that. And what you said just a moment ago, you said relentless support. I mean, that just struck home for me. And when I first developed the podcast with my law firm, Disability Lawyers for the Community, that's exactly what this is designed to do, to really focus and highlight and get the word out in the community about the incredible support, the resources, the tools to help people battling some of the most difficult things and changes in their lives. And it's because of organizations like Covenant House that are available to help that we want to do something like this. We want to get the word out, promote the amazing work that you're doing. And can you share with us a specific story of maybe someone's life or organization that has helped?
Sure. We had one young man who went through numerous foster homes. A lot of our young people age out of foster care and they have no place to go. When I say numerous, I mean like 17, 18, 19 foster homes in his life, and decided to become self-emancipated at 16 and ended up here because his father lived here. He was down south, and didn't understand what he was going to be doing next and felt despondent and ended up in the hospital in mental health crisis. And from there called us. And when he came here, one of the things that he said he wanted to do, he's always wanted to be a firefighter or an EMT. And we actually was able to get him into an EMT program through the city of Detroit. For the fight, one of the fire chiefs came and spoke to our young people. This was several years ago when we could have people on campus, and they came and talked about him, and he started this program. And I do know that he is out in his own living situation, and I do believe that he is moving forward with his dream.
I love hearing. I'm sure you have so many stories like that you could share with us if we had the time. And I believe there's even some on the website, which is just a wonderful resource. Do you make time to, or carve out time in your busy schedule for any hobbies or interests that you enjoy? I understand you're an animal lover, very compassionate for people and animals.
Yes. I've got 3 grown children, so it's really managing all of their lives and making sure that, when they do come home, that we're there for them. And it's this job is a lot. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of energy. It's having to pivot during the pandemic, figuring out what we were going to do with no with no fundraising, with no events that we could do. And so it's really making sure that this is my focus, and this is somewhere that I'm just glad to be here.
Wonderful. Now, there is an event coming up that I want to talk to you about. At my law firm, at Disability Law Group, we love to get involved in the community and in organizations that just really do the on-the-ground, impactful work that we see in the community. And we previously volunteered and participated in the Sleep Out event. And there's another one coming up next month at my law firm. My employees, my staff will be participating in, as well as myself and my family and friends. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. So Covenant House is part of Covenant House International, which is a federation of sites, 33 cities across the United States, in Canada and Central America. So Sleep Out is a movement. Sleep Out is a movement that doesn't want you to pretend that you're homeless. It's standing in solidarity with our young people. So in not a COVID year, not a pandemic year, Sleep Out is an amazing event that happens on our campus. Prior to the event, which is November 18th, sleepers raise a commit to raising a minimum of $5,000. And they sleep out in teams, they sleep out together. And during the event, again, when it is on campus, they have a chance to experience what we do. Our first time sleepers will go out onto an outreach run with our outreach coordinator or our outreach manager, and they'll learn that intake process, and they'll hear from our young people during roundtables. This year, we're trying to bring that in person to our virtual space. And so we are actually having some of our larger corporate sponsors, Delta, Cisco, Accenture, and actually Plant Moran are going to be sleeping out in their offices. So we're going to be having satellite sleep outs, and then they're going to come together. We're going to have an opportunity to come together on a virtual platform prior to the international event. So we're going to be doing panel discussions about outreach and mental health and homelessness throughout the evening. So you'll have a chance to hear from our staff. You'll have a chance to hear from our administration and to learn more about what we do for our young people. It's a big lift. We have a $500,000 goal this year, and we're actually just topped over $100,000 as of yesterday. So this is our largest fundraiser, and it really provides our operating dollars for the year. So this is crucial that this year we need to continue to have people, sign up and sleep out. And we're asking people to sleep out in their own space or in a group space, and to let us know that if you do have a group space, so that we can make sure that during the first part of our virtual event that we're able to contact you and make sure that you appear on the screen. Our executive director, Jerry Piro, will be traveling to some of these satellite sites. So if there's enough of you and you want to visit from our ED, you can let me know. But you can go to sleepout.org /event/Michigan and sign up.
Wonderful. So I learned that fundraising goal of $5,000 helps the residents. It helps with outreach work on the streets of Detroit and in your Grand Rapids location.
Yes.
Sleeper raising $7,500. This provides 150 young people with interview clothes and supplies so that they can get and retain that job to help improve their lives. And then the $10,000 raised provides mental health screening for every youth in the emergency crisis shelter.
Right.
That is just phenomenal.
Absolutely.
How can people learn more? I know you have the website.
Yep.
What else would you want to talk to us about with Covenant House?
So it's Covenant House MI, and there are opportunities for people to sign up and donate. We have always cash is always the best option. Or we also have our holiday that's coming up. We depend on the kindness of our community to provide a wonderful holiday for our young people. It is all through donation. So we have a holiday wish list that's on our website, and that's for both Detroit and Grand Rapids. And what we do is we put together a holiday store for our young people, and they can come in and take whatever they want. And it is, the last several years have been wonderful. Our young people have gotten things like, you would never know that slippers, pajamas, and robes make someone so happy when they've never had that. I've had a young person come to me and say, "What is this?" And he's holding up a bathrobe. And I said, "That's what you wear when you come out of the shower." And he's like, "Well, I just wear a towel." I said, put those on. That's much better for you than just to walk around the shelter in a towel. So it's the slippers. And we had one year when we had onesie pajamas, and the residents decided that they were all going to come to dinner that night in their onesie pajamas. So it makes them so happy, because they're away from their families at the holidays, and this is their family. So to be able to share that joy of the holidays with them, it's indescribable. So please go to the website and take a look at our wish list. And there's my team member Patty Wojtovich is on, her information's on there, and you can contact her for donation drop-offs. And it's all new. We don't take used clothing. We want our young people to have brand new clothes, because they do deserve that. The other option is we have an associate board, and that is for 22 to 40-year-olds, where our associate board has been doing wonderful things during the pandemic. They're actually having a trunk and treat event. I think it's next week, and they're coming in social distancing and bringing candy for our residents. So that's going to be a lot of fun. There's all that information on the website.
That's just wonderful. You're saying, this is like a family here, and it truly feels that way when you get to experience that for these children
Right.
who might not have really ever have experienced that, and certainly not before coming there. So thank you, Ida. I greatly appreciate you taking the time to be here
Sure.
today, and your efforts in ending youth homelessness and promoting inclusion and diversity. So together, we hope to do our part to achieve that same goal. And I encourage everyone listening to check out Covenant House's website with tools, resources available, and reach out if you or someone you know needs help or has any questions, or even if you do want to take a tour and get more involved in the incredible work they do. So until next time, be well and stay healthy.
Thank you.